Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll discuss about the histology of small intestine, which is very helpful for absorption of whatever we eat. So first we'll start with the duodenum. Before drawing anything, so all the small intestine has a mucosal fold, that's a plique. So make an outline of the plique. So over that, in the mucosa, we have the surface projection. The projection above the surface is the villi, and the depression which is below the surface level are the crypts of Liberkans. So make sure you draw it properly. The above one are the villi, below are the crypts or the glands. The mucosal glands are called crypts of Liberkan in the small intestine. So the villi in the duodenum are very broad. They are called tongue-shaped villi. The mucosal extension, that's the plique circulaire, the villi, and the apical modification, that's the microvilli, will increase the surface area of absorption. These villi are lined by columnar epithelium, which are very important for the absorption. They have a basally placed nuclei and also have microvilli, that is the apical finger-like projection on the apical surface of the cells. These microvilli will increase the surface area. They will be recognized as in the light microscope as forming a striated border only on the luminal surface. Then we also have goblet cells scattered among the columnar epithelium. The Paneth cells, very important in the small intestine. These Paneth cells are found in the base of the intestinal glands. So what I am drawing is a cut section of the villi. So when you are drawing a cut section of the villi, you have to draw epithelium surrounding like a flower. So but when you are drawing the crypts of Liberkan, they are the depressions. So you have to draw like acini, the sections. So the Paneth cells will be present in these crypts of Liberkan. What they'll do, they're very important in secreting the antibacterial enzymes. So they play an important role in maintaining the immunity by secreting antimicrobial substances. They also maintain the normal bacterial flora of the small intestine. So what I am drawing is the microvilli. Make sure only on the apical surface you just have a scribble so that it looks like a microvilli. The surface modification, it is smooth, no? The columnar epithelium, just make wavy only on the apical surface. Don't make it too deep, only upper 1/4 should be the microvilli among the height of the cell. So we also have enteroendocrine cells, which is similar to the stomach. Throughout the GIT it will be present, the open type and the closed type, and they help in the secretion of various endocrine and paracrine hormones. So we also have yum cells, which is important in the ileum near the lymphatic nodules. We'll discuss that while discussing the ileum. So keep a oval shaped nucleus towards the base. So this is the mucosa, which is the lining epithelium. Just beneath the mucosa, this outline you should write. The villi above the surface, crypts below the surface. Then below the in between the core of the villi contains the lamina propria. So shade that with a light pink. Don't do it very dark. Light pink, shade it. These lamina propria contains the important thing, the blind lymphatic channel, that's the lacteals, and also the the blood capillaries, and also the smooth muscle extending from the muscularis mucosae. It also has lymphatic nodules, that is the galt, the gut associated lymphatic nodules. Usually the lymphocytes will be scattered throughout this lamina propria, but some places there you can see the aggregations of the lymphocytes. Then the next layer is the muscularis mucosae, which as usual has an inner circular and outer longitudinal layer. This inner circular will also extend into the villi. So the mucosa contains the lining epithelium with the villi and the crypts, the lamina propria and the muscularis mucosa, the two layers. So don't forget to write the lymphatic nodules, the scattered lymph nodes and some 1 or 2 lymphatic nodules in the lamina propria. The next layer is the submucosa. The submucosa in the duodenum is very peculiar, and it is the feature in identifying the duodenum. It contains the glands. They are called Brunner's glands. They are the branch tubular submucosal glands. They contain both zymogen secreting and mucus secreting cells. These are very important because the food the duodenum receives will be very acidic. The secretion from these glands will maintain the pH and makes it alkaline so that the enzymes from the pancreas and the liver can function properly. So these duodenal glands are very important for the enzymes to act. So these are the characteristic feature of duodenum. Sometimes the shape of the villi may not be peculiar for the duodenum. It may be confusing depending on the sections they have taken. But the glands in the submucosa, you can't miss it. It's only present in the duodenum. Villi plus glands in the submucosa. So the next layer, the third layer below the submucosa is the muscularis externa. That is similar to other part in the GIT. It consists of inner circular and outer longitudinal layer. So make sure to write the thickness of these muscle layers should be more thick compared to muscularis mucosae. So the circular and longitudinal muscle. Keep the nuclei also properly. This is the muscularis externa. The outermost layer, the fourth layer, can be a serosa or adventitia because duodenum is a retroperitoneal organ. Only the anterior surface is covered by the serosa, whereas the posterior surface is covered by adventitia. So here I am writing the serosa, but adventitia can also be there. Serosa is nothing but a squamous epithelium, the peritoneal covering. You can also write some blood vessels and adipose tissue. Now coming to the jejunum, make an outline to show the mucosal fold, that is the plicae circulae. Then here the villi are very long. They are leaf-shaped villi. The very long villi. So you can write the very long villi. These are the crypts of Lieberkühn. The below the surface, the cut section of the tubular glands, you can see are the crypts of Lieberkühn. So the lining epithelium is the same. It is the columnar epithelium with scattered goblet cells in between. The crypts also contain the Paneth cells and enteroendocrine cells. The lifespan of these columnar cells and the goblet cells will be very short. It will be around 4 to 6 days, whereas the Paneth cell, the lifespan is around 4 weeks. To identify the small intestine slides, first we have to identify the villi, the extension villi, finger-like extension. The tall villi are seen in the jejunum. The another important feature identified jejunum are the negative things like absence of submucosal glands and also absence of lymphatic nodules or the Peyer's patches in the lamina propria. So if there is a tall villi, no submucosal gland, no lymphatic aggregations like a Peyer's patch, then you can write it as jejunum. The crypts also contains the columnar epithelium. The microvilli you have to show. The plicae circulae will increase the absorptive capacity, absorptive area by 3 folds, whereas the villi will increase the absorptive surface by 10 fold, and the microvilli will increase the surface area 20 folds. So all these three things together, they increase the surface area, exposure of the food to the surface by 600 folds. So in this way, they increase the surface area so that the food, all the nutrients from the food will be absorbed. So this is a characteristic feature in the small intestine. So below the villi, the core of the villi contains the lamina propria. The same thing as the duodenum. The lamina propria contains the lacteals, the lymphatic channel beginning, which absorb all the fat globules and bigger particles will be carried through these lacteals. The blood capillaries, the smooth muscles extending from the inner circular layer of muscularis mucosa, and also the scattered lymph nodes. This is the lamina propria. So please shade it with a light pink because they contain the loose connective tissue holding all these structures. Then the muscularis mucosa, which consists of inner circular and outer longitudinal layer. So these basic layer you have to be thorough. So the 4 layers, and in the mucosa we have epithelium, the lining epithelium, the lamina propria and muscularis mucosa. One place you can show the lymphatic nodule also. In other places show the scattered lymphocytes. Now the next layer, the submucosa, here it contains dense connective tissue and some blood vessels and adipose tissue. No submucosal or Brunner's glands. Absence of Brunner's glands. Then the muscularis externa, the same way you have to write the inner circular and outer longitudinal layer. To know more about how to draw microvilli, you can refer to my epithelium video, which you can get it in my channel. And also to writing the smooth muscles, the circular and longitudinal layer, you can refer to the muscular tissue video, where I have explained how to draw the circular, inner circular and outer longitudinal, why we are writing in bundle and how to keep the nuclei. So this is the jejunum. Well, coming to the ileum. Ileum is the last part of the GIT. Here the mucosal, the plicae circular will be very less, and very rarely you will see the plicae, and you can see the Peyer's patches where the villi are absent. There won't be any villi just above the Peyer's patch. So write few villi, and they are very short finger-like villi, and the crypts also will be present. The number of crypts will be less, and villi also will be less. So the short villi, the epithelium is the same, the columnar epithelium with microvilli and the scattered goblet cells. The main feature in the ileum is the presence of Peyer's patches. What is Peyer's patches? It is the aggregation of lymphocytes which forms a nodule. The bigger nodule is the Peyer's patch. You can see grossly also in the ileum. So I am showing here one big lymphatic nodules, and in the center there is an absence of villi. Wherever there is absence of villi, you can identify that as a Peyer's patch. So write the crypts also, and it is almost equivalent to the lymphatic nodule. That much lymphocytes will be present in the ileum. But only thing, in the lymphatic nodule you don't have villi, lymph nodes, lymphatic organs. Here in the ileum you can identify the villi and also a lot of lymphatic aggregates in the lamina propria. That's how we can identify the ileum. Here the surface epithelium will also contain the M cells. These cells overlie the Peyer's patches. They have microfold rather than microvilli. So these folds will help to take up the microorganisms from the lumen by endocytotic vesicles. So they'll, after absorbing the antigen, they'll present it to the underlying lymphocytes. So these M cells are numerous in the ileum. So other component in the lamina propria, the lacteals, the blood vessels, the smooth muscles extending into the villi also you have to write. So make sure you write lot of lymphocytes in the lamina propria. The aggregation of lymphatic nodule is the Peyer's patch. You need not show a mucosal fold, that's a plicae circulate in the ileum. But if you want to show, you can show, but it's not a must, because over the Peyer's patches you don't have any plicae circular, and there are very few plicae you will get in the ileum. The villi in the small intestine you can easily remember, like the duodenal villi are broad like your thumb, the jejunal villi are very long like your middle finger, and ileal villi are very short and like your little finger. So the thumb is like thumb shape villi are the duodenum, the middle finger villi are like a jejunum, and little finger villi like ileum. So that's a mnemonic, how can you remember the one? Otherwise, usually the duodenum is a tongue-shaped villi, jejunum is a leaf-shaped villi, and the ileum is a short finger-like villi. Below the lamina propria, as usual, we have to draw muscularis mucosae, which consists of inner circular and outer longitudinal layer. While doing the labeling, please write the 4 layers of the GIT, the mucosa, submucosa, muscularis externa or serosa adventitia on your the left hand side, and the other the labelings like epithelium, the lamina propria, its contents, muscularis mucosae, the contents in the submucosa, inner circular and outer longitudinal layers, all those things on the right side of the diagram. So the next layer, the submucosa, will contain the dense connective tissue, the blood vessels and few adipose tissues. No specialization, the regular submucosa in the other structure. That's adipose tissue and the blood capillaries. The next layer, the muscularis externa, is similar to the other structure, like similar to the other muscularis externa in the other part of the GIT, and that's the inner circular and outer longitudinal layer. The outermost layer is the serosa, having a layer of squamous epithelium, that's the mesothelium. So if you like the video, please give a thumbs up, share with your friends and subscribe to my channel so you'll get a notification whenever I release a new video. If you have any comments, please write it down in the comment section so that I can improve my video. So make sure when you are drawing the small intestine diagram, the villi in your record should be comparable. The broad villi in the duodenum, tall slender villi in the jejunum, short slender in the ileum. So when you compare the 3 diagrams in your record, you should be able to differentiate the shape of the villi. Thank you for watching.